guys.
Welcome.
We're nearing the end of the year and about to start a new one.
Yes.
So we got
a new decade.
We're getting excited. Yeah, a new year, a new decade. Wow, I can't believe it.
It's been real.
They're just stacking up, stacks on stacks.
I know, it's been crazy. Yeah, so what are we talking about today?
Wow. Our journey throughout the year, like 2019, our debt-free journey. How much we spent, how much we saved, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep. Yeah, so starting with our debt payoff. Starting with you.
Okay,
what did you start with and how much did you pay up this year?
At the beginning of this year, I had $20,000 in various debts.
20,000 even?
Yes, evenish. So I had about 13,000 even on my credit card. And
how do you make it even?
I maxed it out. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's what I had, and that's what I had. That's where I was.
How do you make it even?
Yeah. And then I had about 6,900 and some on my student loan.
Okay.
So that's why it's close to 20-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the 13,000 was definitely a round number. Pretty rounded number. During the year, I tried so hard to pay down my credit card balance, but every time I paid it down, it kept on going back to the same square one because of the high level of interest that it had. So in 2019, March, I consolidated my loans to an even, not an even, it was 17 some. So the total amount of money that I've paid this year towards both my credit card student loans separately and collectively as after consolidation were $13,026.78.
So you paid off your credit card.
Yes. Yeah. So if I had all of them, I would have paid off my credit card and $26 to my student loan. But that being said, interest was $2,509.28.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot. If it wasn't for that 2,000, since I had like 6,900 and something on my student loan, I would have been at 6,000 and something on my total balance, right?
Yeah.
But my current balance is $9,482.50 because of all the interest.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Heavy stuff. Think about all that you could do with $2,500. Woo!
That's what we were saying in the other episode. When you think just making the minimum payment is okay, even with you making all those extra payments, you're still paying so much towards interest. At the end of the day, just having credit costs you so much more than you could ever think.
My target amount that I aimed on paying each month was $1,100. But there were, I think, 2 months that I couldn't make that payment because of, personal emergencies and that kind of stuff. But the majority of the year, I paid $1,100 towards my debt and still did nothing.
Wow, but that's still great progress.
Yeah, so I'm really proud that I know that my goal for this year was to be 100% debt-free by the end of the year, but because of my current job situation, it didn't allow me to have an extra side income and all that stuff. So I'm still proud of being under 10K.
Yeah, that's great. So how many percent is that? That should be about 50-something% paid off.
I've paid 53%.
That's exactly what I have. Wow.
Of my debt off.
That is amazing.
And 47 more to go.
That is exactly the percentage that I have.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So I started at $47,328.24. Very precise. Okay, so I paid off $25,098.24. So what I have remaining is 22,230, and what is remaining is my line of credit and my car loan. So the debt that I paid off was I had three credit cards. One store credit card visions was $1,217.37. My second credit card was $1,865.46. And then I had two friends that borrowed me money, so that was $1,000. And then my overdraft was $500. And then my third credit card was $15,356.73. I was just a little bit close to the max because the max was 15,500. And I think at some point I actually maxed it out. And then $300 towards my line of credit. So I made that first dent to my line of credit this month. So yeah, so that brings me to 53% paid off.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 47% to go.
Yes.
But what is
it's
interesting?
amazing that we're like, despite the size of our
we're still at the same.
We're at the same
pace.
percentage, right? Yeah, yeah.
So what was amazing to me was that my goal, I had initially planned to pay an extra $1,380, I think. So that would have put me at $32,000 paid off. So that would have been 32%. So I'm 21% ahead of my goal.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, so I paid $9,863 extra towards that goal, and that has put me 7 months ahead of my payoff goal. So I might be 1 year ahead of my goal, because now I have.
That's awesome.
Because now for my 2020, my goal is to pay off at the end of like next year. So that would make me one, because my initial goal was end of 2021. Yeah. So because now I'm already 7 months ahead, I know that by next year, like I can speed up.
3 months. Well.
Like tracking these expenses has been really helpful for me, because especially when you feel that you're not making progress, but like seeing the numbers now and seeing how much progress you've made is just amazing.
It's very encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much in interest did you pay? Did you already say that?
So interest paid in total was $3,133, and most of that was from the high credit card, because let me just do a breakdown of my interest. So my total interest, so the one credit card that I had, it was a store credit card where they say don't pay for 6 months, I think. So I paid it up before the interest kicked in, so that was 0. And then the second credit card, I only had that balance because I was trying to pay off the other one first. So I only had it for, I think, 3 months. So that interest on that was $246 before I paid it off. And then the major credit card, the 15,001, was $1,377.44 that I paid in interest. And my line of credit, because that was like that's on the top of my debt snowball, on the bottom. No, it's far on my debt snowball. So for that one, I paid $1,190.73, and then my car payment was $319 in total. I haven't added my last, like for this month of December, because my last payment hasn't come out yet, but on average, I pay like $29 in interest. So my car loan interest is actually really low. So in total, that brings it to about $3,133. On average, towards my debt, I paid about $2,281.66 on average. There were months where I was lower than that, and there were months where I paid, like this month was the highest. I think I paid $3,000 and something towards my credit, because I was just like, I want to throw everything towards that credit card. So I just squeezed every last dollar out of it. And this month ended up being okay. So my highest month was this month, December, $3,563.12, and my lowest month was $1,561.30. That was in May, which brings it to an average of about $2,281. So not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I didn't imagine when I was writing these goals, I was like, I'm gonna do like an extra $1,000 towards my dad. I was like, ha ha ha. I was like, how are you gonna do that? But
Yeah.
the fact that I've been consistently paying so much more, it just tells you the power of like making a plan.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, the lowest was $1,361. I didn't see that. Anyway, yeah, so that just tells you the importance of putting a plan together, because every time I review my tracking on my Excel, which is pretty much every day, I'm always thinking of what can I do to save more money or pay more. I'm always looking for ways to pay more, and a lot of it came with around summertime when my project was really busy and I was doing a lot of overtime. I was planning my overtime around this payment, so I was like, okay, if I do 5 more hours, I can get this much money. So, like, I was planning my work around how much more money I could pay, and during the summer, that's when I was able to like pay more money towards my debt. And then December, because I was like, I've been at home not doing anything, so I'm not spending money.
It also goes to show you like the difference between us. I had a very high goal. We both had really high goals.
Yeah.
But you were able to surpass your goal. I wasn't able to meet my goal. And that's okay. This is all part of life, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't set a goal because you were not able to achieve it.
Yeah.
It just means that sometimes it will work out, and most times it does, and sometimes it won't. And it shouldn't be a thing to discourage you, because even if I didn't pay off all of my debt, I still paid a lot of my debt during this year. I still paid 53%, that's over 50% of my debt. And if I did nothing about it, I would have not been anywhere close to where I am.
Oh,
if I paid minimum balances on it, I would have been nowhere near where I am right now. So setting a goal is important. And sometimes you will achieve it, sometimes you won't, but you still have to keep ongoing, right?
Yeah. Another good thing about not achieving that goal is because you've been tracking it so much, you know the reasons why you couldn't achieve that goal. So it's kind of a lessons learned for you, where you're saying, okay, I couldn't do it because I had so much work to do, or
I wasn't able to make extra income.
That's so you know the reasons why you weren't able to do that.
It's
goal.
Not like I didn't push my budget to the limit. I did. I used my budget effectively and pretty much made the minimum amount of payments that, or at least the extra amount of payments that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
But the amounts that were supposed to push me over the edge were supposed to come from a supplementary income, which I wasn't able to. Yeah, so that's part of the lessons that we learned during this year.
Yeah, so just another recap of what my spending has been for this year. I'm just gonna give percentages because those numbers there's a lot of numbers to be saying out on the podcast. So in general, for my savings, like I had said previously, I didn't have any plans to save apart from my 1,000 emergency savings. So that's all the savings I had done this year, and that was it. So that was like 2%, and then giving was 10%, which is my tithing. So I've been consistently doing my 10% tithe. And then, so this is my take home, by the way. Percentage of my take home. Okay, and then my housing cost is 20% of my total take home. And then utilities came up to 4%. Transportation came up to 7%. Debt came up to 36%. What? And then my personal care came to 4%. Food came to 5%. Clothing, 0%. I just put that in there because that just gave me so much joy to know that I didn't spend any money on clothing this year. And then the thing that was kind of eye-opening for me was miscellaneous, or I call them one-time expenses. So things that I would usually not put in my budget. It's kind of like the sinking funds where it's usually not in my budget, but I would put it in a certain month because I knew it was coming up. So they're one-time expenses like my citizenship, my parent sponsorship, like getting new tires and things like that. Things we had to get for this podcast. It's just random things that came up during the year. That actually took a huge chunk of my budget. So that came up to 12% of my budget. So that was an eye opener for me to see how much I spent in those areas. And this year was actually a really busy year for me because there were a lot of things that I was doing at the same time. So I knew that I had my voice lessons too. I knew there was money that there were things I planned for. So they were not unplanned things. Like some of them were unplanned, but not unplanned in the way that I didn't see it coming. Like some of them were like the small unplanned things I was able to figure it out, but like there were things I knew I just had to get it done last year because some of the things are things that I've been procrastinating on. Some of the things are things that I knew had to happen, like my citizenship. I couldn't, like, it's not something you can just delay for delaying sake. Like I could if I wanted to, but what's the point? And then, so I just felt that I just had to do all of those things. And if I had not paid, if I decided to delay all of those things, I would have made so much progress in my debt payment. So it's not really a setback because I don't regret doing anything that I did with that money. Maybe a few random things, but they were not things that made me lose sleep over or anything. So
yeah, for me, I pretty much stayed the same in my categories just because I was like, okay, this is the percentage of all the bills that I have to pay, and I give myself $300 a month for food, gas, and miscellaneous. So all the miscellaneous stuff that we had to spend for, like, say, podcasts or whatever, would be out of the percentage of giving that I have for the month. So I guess that was my giving part for that month instead of like the regular giving that I would do for that month type thing. So my percentages pretty much stayed the same, which were savings 3%, which is my sinking funds, 4% for utilities, which is just internet and phone, 3% for giving, 3% for food, 3% for transportation, which is gas and all that stuff, 10% for tithing, as per usual, 34% for housing, 30% for debt payment, 8% for my different insurances, 1% for entertainment, and 2% for fun. Those, my transportation, food, and entertainment categories have been mixed and matched, depending on how the month is and how things were going. And every extra amount of money that I saved in those categories, I put in a savings jar type of thing where I use the money in the summertime to do fun things.
in my budget, there were areas that I was on the budget, so these were very intentional. So this is me cutting down my expenses as much as I could. So for my hydro, which is my electricity, I was under budget by $199.25, which is pretty much $200. And how I achieved this was like in the summer, my AC, I did not turn on my AC the entire time. I moved my laundry to once every 2 weeks. Sometimes I do it once every 3 weeks. So I try not to do laundry all the time. And then I figured out when, because they have like peak periods, so my electricity is never on during like peak periods and things like that. So I was very mindful. Like Chite knows, anytime she comes to my house, I'm like, turn off the lights, turn off the lights. So that was me trying to be very cautious about how I was consuming electricity, and then my insurances. This is just me paying off my premium in full. I was able to save about $21.58. Not too much, but something. My gas for the entire, and these are for the entire year, by the way. For my gas, it was $50, and it was a lot more less, but like what you said, whenever I have money saved in my gas, I just end up throwing it into like my food budget because I've already like reduced my food budget way lower. I just throw it into something else or just get myself coffee or something. Like I don't really put it in my debt because sometimes it's like $5-10 or sometimes I just get a car wash. So I don't really
It's significant enough to use it as a reward for yourself, but it's insignificant to so insignificant to try and like squeeze it back into your debt.
Yeah. And then for my subscriptions, so my subscriptions include my Spotify, my gym membership, so all my anything membership wise that to me I don't feel is a necessity. I put it under subscriptions. So in total I saved $568.49. I had like two things that I subscribed to on iTunes. They were like fitness programs. So I stopped those, and then my gym memberships, which I suspended for 6 months. So that saved me a lot of money. And then my personal care, I saved $1,580. And my personal care includes my waxing, my nails, my hair, my cosmetics, and what else? Yeah, basically that. So like each month I already have what I budget for it, but I might decide to skip doing that month or reduce the amount I spend on that area that month. So even though I was doing those things, I was still making sure that I wasn't either going over budget or I was staying well below what I budgeted for it in the first place. And then my food, I saved $1,095. No surprise there. And then the places that I went over budget was so these one-time expenses. Like I said, like when I say budget, it's not the budget that I did for the month, but what my typical master budget would look like for the entire year. So I these were things that I wouldn't have had in my budget at the beginning of the year. So, but it would show up as maybe like a sinking item for that month. So for the entire year, I spent $8,379 on one-time expenses. So this was like the big shocker for me, and it wasn't like a shocker, but like this year, I pretty much started so much. Like I started a new job, I started this podcast, I started a side hustle. So like all of those things cost money. So those were things that ended up taking a huge chunk of money from me. But like I said earlier, like there are things that I had to do. So like my vocal lessons, my what else did I do? Yeah, that was like close to half of it. And then just like with family, like helping out and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a huge chunk. And then the other part that I went over budget is my debt, which I absolutely don't regret. And then my phone bill. I was over budget by $8.78, which is funny because I actually reduced how much I was paying per month. Like I got a $10 cheaper plan, but there was one month that this is like now that I'm thinking about it, it's just annoying me because there was one day like I called in this girl Lovey, Lovey Ajay. She was doing like a Zoom call. So I was coming home from work. I tried to call in. It's supposed to be an internet call, right? But for some reason it wasn't connected. So I called the number and I didn't realize it was a US number. Like I didn't even know any of this was happening until I got my phone bill, and then my bill was like $100 and something. It was so high. Then I called them and they're like, "Oh, you made a call to the US." I was like, "I didn't call anyone. I don't. What do I know in the US? I don't call anyone." And then I realized it was a Zoom call. I was like, "But this is an internet call." So I didn't realize that when I called the number, I was actually calling it from my phone instead of like an internet call. So that was just a stupid extra charge that I got, but and I didn't end up. It didn't end up like the amount that I was saving every month from reducing my bill kind of made up for it up to the $8 extra. So it wasn't too bad. And then my internet, that's the part that was the highest, $295 over budget, and it's a long story, so I'm not going to get into the details of it. But I've changed my internet 3 times. Let's just put it that way. But it ended up costing me more money, and a huge chunk of that was the fact that I had to buy a new router twice, which I'm gonna sell to get my money back. But that's part of it. And then that's it.
Couldn't you have said I have a router? Or if they didn't accept it, if it wasn't provided
No, I
by
had to
them?
buy my own router.
But you already had one from the previous time you bought it.
No, I've never had a router. All the ones I've always had came with the router. The router.
So when you canceled, you sent the router back?
Yeah, you have to give them back the router. Let's talk about the interest savings. So if I had not paid any extra payment towards my debt, I would have paid. The amount I saved from paying extra payments from interest is about $1,301. So I think we did interest that way. Yeah, so that's pretty much the summary of all the ingoings and outgoings.
So what are some of the lessons that you learned from this experience?
Well, before we talk about lessons learned, we talk about the experience itself. Okay. And what the experience was like. For me, it was just the biggest one for me was having a lot of one-time expenses that I had to cash flow basically. So those kind of hindered my payments. And then I had to go into overdraft twice. I think there was one time I talked about this. And I don't remember what the second one was for. I think it was just a payment that came out when I wasn't expecting it to come out or something funny like that. So that kind of like made me, I don't know, I think it made me feel really, really bad. And then, I've been having endless tire problems this entire year. I feel like this year has been good. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's been good in terms of having like setbacks. I've not really had any major setbacks. Like the one thing that has happened is my tire. Like my tire constantly out of the snow. Like my car itself is fine and great. I've not had any issues with my car. It's just the tires. And for some reason, there's always something. Is there? Every time I go to the mechanic or the dealership, they always tell me something about my tires, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. Just stop. But yeah, it's been an endless circle with my tires and just having to say no. But like we were just talking just now, like to me, I don't really see it as a setback or anything bad. It's just
like missing out on things.
Yeah, because at first I used to feel bad that I was missing out on things, but now I just sit and ask myself, my quality of life did not change. My level of happiness did not decrease. I wasn't more stressed or anything. It made me realize that all of the things that I thought was gonna add to a better quality of life for me were really not gonna do that for me. Especially in the summer when you have friends and everyone's trying to do so much and you have to say no or keep canceling and stuff like that. You're like, I'm missing out on this thing. But at the end of the day, I wasn't losing sleep over these things. So it just made me really question what my priorities are in life and things that all those things I was spending money on, thinking that, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to be going here and there. Like I didn't go on vacation this year, and to me that was a major thing for me. But at the end of the day, I didn't die. I didn't wake up depressed the next morning. None of that stuff happened. The fact that I knew I had a reason why I was doing that, I think that's just what has always kept me happy and motivated, not feeling down on myself. So there's sometimes you feel bad, obviously, especially on social media when you see everyone having fun. But it's just that instant. It's only that instant when I'm seeing maybe the pictures or they're telling me the stories of all the things they did. That instant is when I feel bad, and then after that, I'm okay. It's not like I go home and then I brood over it. I'm like, oh my gosh, my life sucks. No, I don't lose thought or sleep over it. So it's just at the end of the day, you think you're missing out, but you're not really missing out.
Yeah, it's true though. I just remembered one of the reasons why I didn't make an additional payment on one of the months, one of the earlier months. I think it was in May. It was because my cousin had a graduation in Newfoundland, and so I had to pay for tickets and all that stuff during that time. But looking back at my year, it feels like I actually created environments for myself to enjoy life. despite in spite of spending money, like instead of spending money, I did this.
Yeah.
So like I found that I strengthened more of my relationships because I had more intimate gatherings at my place, right? So I had during the winter time when I was busy working because we do a lot of overtime during the winter time. I made sure like every Saturday evening, I had tea with some of the people that I really wanted to connect with. So that helped me maintain those relationships and still do something fun. Like tea costs $0. Just boil water. That's it. That's what tea is. If you want to make it fancy, then you do the fancy things, right? If you're good at baking, good for you. Then there you have it. You just have tea and whatever you made, and that's it. You spend time with your friends. And my summer was basically made from all the money I saved from food and gas. That's it. I tried not to spend any more money than that. I didn't budget for anything crazy. And to be honest, like I traveled too. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, like I think most of them were road trips, right? Like the only flight related trip was that one where I had to go to Newfoundland in May. But I went to Quebec twice. I went to Ottawa once. And the good thing about going to those places is that I had family there, so chances are I wasn't paying for like full costs for everything that was happening in those areas, right? So that kind of helps you feel like, oh, I didn't get a vacation. I'm missing out on vacation. Look for a destination where you have family.
Yeah. Another thing for me was just this year, there were a lot of things that I was taking on at the same time. Like I started a new job, started podcasting, started a new side business. I was involved more in church. Like all of these things, don't get me wrong, were my goals. Like they were my 2019 goals, but I didn't realize how much tasking it was gonna be on me, not physically, but more mentally. So it was just there were times where it was just stressful. Like when I say stressful, not stressful in the bad way, not stressful where I'm like having anxiety and panic attacks and things like that. No, just a little bit overwhelming, but not. I don't know the word to use for. Is there anything like good stress? I don't know if there's a word like that, but it was. I wasn't burnt out because these were things that I had carefully planned. These were answers to my prayers, basically. So it was not just me doing things just randomly. So at the end of the day, it was a good learning experience for me because I learned a lot of new skills. I learned a lot of things about myself that I didn't know previously, and it kind of just created a clearer picture for me as to where I want to move forward with my life in the next few years. So it was very, very, very. It was hard. Maybe that's the word. It was hard, but it was good for me. It was really good for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way because I also took a stab at entrepreneurship during this year, and it's an important lesson that you learn. Like investing, planning, showing up, being productive. All of those things are good. You learn that investments take a longer time to yield profit, right? So it was a very interesting year of trying and starting new things. I feel like that's the best part of this journey is that since you have all of this time instead of you're not out here shopping, you have all of this time
That
to do
is
other
true.
things, or at least think of other things.
Yeah.
Give your mind mental space for creativity.
Yeah, another thing for me was just the journey. I'm very impatient, so just waiting every single month and knowing that I've only paid like $1,000. It's just like this debt, especially when you have a huge amount of debt. You feel like you're doing so much, and then you look at the progress, and then you're climbing really, really, really slow. And you're just like, oh my goodness, when is this gonna be done? So for me, just there were times where I would just be going through my budget and balancing things out like, oh yeah, I made a lot of progress. And then there's one thing in my head, I was like, no, it's only 5,000 that you've made so far. And it's like, you still got 42 more to go. So sometimes it's just hard to see, like it's good to see how far you've come, but sometimes it's hard to see how much you have left to go for, especially with knowing like all the things I want to do when I'm debt free, and like I can't wait to be done with this phase of life so I can just move forward. So yeah, it's just learning that patience. And then the last thing that was hard for me was, which is funny, was the lack of support that I had from friends this entire journey. I feel like apart from you, there was really no one supporting this my whole debt free journey. And anytime I try to bring up the topic, it's just like a forbidden subject among like people don't want to talk about it, or they see me as like someone crazy. Like the few people I try to talk about it, they'll be like, "Oh, I can't believe you have this so much debt." I'm like, "What?" And it was just like it wasn't really like anyone like encouraging me and saying, "Oh," apart from like my parents, obviously, like my family, but with and my family is not here, so it's not easy. Like when you need that physical presence and that support. So I didn't really get that support from friends, and then starting a new business, even this podcast, like I'm still not getting that support from friends, and it's just really hard. Like when you're trying to do things, and especially when you're doing something new and you're questioning yourself, and you're like, "Oh, do I know what I'm doing?" And then everyone's just like, "Oh, good for you." So for me, that has been really, really hard. Like, apart from my family, I don't think I have like the friends that I've had supporting me. I can count them on one hand. Like, so very few. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it's been interesting for me to learn the quality of friendships that I have. So it's been really eye opening for me.
Maybe because I have more family here. You know? And I only speak like intimate things with my family. You know, I don't know. My family has been very supportive, like both near and far. And like I have family in Tanzania sharing our podcast, and I'm just like,
honestly, my dad, he's been sharing this podcast, and just random people. He's like, "Oh, my friend said." I was like, "What are you saying?" Like my parents, my dad especially has been like the greatest supporter. But aside that, like I've only had like the people that have supported, especially this podcast, were people that I'm not even close to. Like some of my friends that I haven't spoken to in ages. They're the people that they're texting me every day saying, "Oh, I like what you said on this episode." And then the people that I call my so-called close friends, they haven't even listened to one single episode. I'm like, what kind of friendship is this? It's just I don't want to sound like I'm bitching about anything, but it's hard when, especially when you're the person that you know that you're very supportive of people too. It's just hard when you don't get that same support back. So
I feel like one of my things that was difficult during this debt-free journey is the fact that I couldn't support my friends. Like friends who were starting businesses, friends who were like, you know, they have like online stores or like this and that, like things that I have to buy because they were not in my budget. You know, I just made a list of like, okay, this is all the things I need to buy when I'm debt free now to support them. Like, and that's the thing that made me feel the worst because I'm like, okay, I know they would have supported me if I had like, you know, merchandise or this and that, but I just can't do it right now because of the situation I'm in.
It costs nothing to listen to this podcast.
No. Listening, I'm talking about like people who have like books out.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to lessons learned. What is the one major lesson learned?
So for me, it's contentment, acceptance, patience, and recognizing small victories. I feel like it's a group that walks together.
These are all spiritual.
Yeah, because like if you're content, you accept whatever you have, whatever is coming to you, and you learn to appreciate. You're more grateful. You learn to appreciate small victories. You also are patient, you know, in the season that you are in. So I feel like it's a group of things that kind of like walk together.
Yeah, contentment for me was a very, very big one. Like I had mentioned, like just looking at things that I could be doing and then realizing that I really didn't need those things anymore. It has just been a major factor for me. Like imagine me like this entire year I haven't spent any money on clothing. I would not have thought that I would be able to stay an entire year and not buy a single thing for myself, but it was just every single morning. Sometimes I would wake up, you know that morning when you wake up and like I have nothing to wear. but you have a closet full of clothes. I felt that way every single day, but I would tell myself, like, you have a closet full of clothes. There are times when I would even push myself and say, okay, how creative can you be, like, with in terms of spicing up what you're wearing and things like that. Like, I told myself this year I would make sure I would not buy anything new. Like, I don't care how torn my my pants are. Like, if it's torn, I'll just throw it out and keep using what I have. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, the things that I thought I needed that I didn't get, but I didn't need those things.
Oh, I remember I went shopping right before this year started, and it was a different size. So halfway through
And then
this
all
year,
that not eating food has made you lose a lot of weight.
so I ended up just giving those clothes away. It's brand new, because it's just, and that's okay because I'm content with what I have, and what I have is enough, right? And that's part of the lessons that you learn in this journey.
Yeah. I learned that I don't need a lot. I really don't need a lot. There's just so much that I don't need. And I am so, like, I'm such a buyer and I'm so used to buying stuff. And there's just so much stuff that I don't need. Like, this year, trying to practice more minimalism and just, like, decluttering my house and, like, getting rid of stuff that I don't use. Learning that there's so much stuff that I don't need. Like, most of the stuff that I've given away, like, I can't even remember the stuff that I gave away because that's so how much inconsequential they were to me. But they were just occupying so much space. And now, like, I'm trying to, like, challenge myself, like, even with clothing, before I buy new stuff, like, I have to make sure that I'm getting rid of stuff that I already have. So, like, I've already partitioned my closet. Like, my shoe closet, it can only hold this many shoes. So if one shoe is coming in, one gotta go. So that's what I did to myself. Like I used to have, like, I had 2 shoe closets, so I reduced that to 1. I'm like, okay, now all these shoes, it has to fit this space, and nothing else can fit this unless one thing goes. And that's just, and I've been fine with just wearing the stuff that I have. Like, it can last me probably another 2 years. Like, I wouldn't need anything new because of all my years of buying so much. So I don't need to buy so much anymore. It's just been so enlightening to me, honestly.
That's true.
Yeah, and people think that being frugal means, oh, you're living in sack clothes and you're eating right. Like, it's just practicing contentment, and contentment is such a good spiritual gift to have. It's just, or a spiritual discipline to have, where you just every day you're walking out and you're like, I don't need anything. The things that you need, you have. You have clothing, you have shelter, you have light, you have water. Like, what else do you need? Everything that you need, that you say you need, it's just a want. Like, you can survive. You can survive without those things. Like, if the world came to an end and you didn't need any of these things, you would survive. You would definitely.
That's true.
You would definitely survive. So a lot of things that we go crazy about, like, oh, I need to have this, I need to have this, like, they're not needs at all. And that's just been a really good for me, especially from someone that used to spend money a lot. Like, I used to think that being frugal meant that I was gonna be living in a box. But just for me now, being frugal is just being intentional with the things that I put my money towards. Like, whatever I buy, that's something that I absolutely love and want. And it's been crazy. What's another lesson learned for me? Yeah, like, talking about, like, contentment, like, things don't make you happy, and just living on less. And for me, it's learning my strengths. I didn't know how creative I could be in so many areas in my life until I started this therapy journey, especially with my finances, and just having that discipline. I have gotten so much discipline that it still surprises me. Like, I've been going through my past statements, and I looked at how much I spent around this time, Christmas time, 2 years ago. I think it was close to 3,000. What am I saying? More than $3,000. For 1 month. And then look at this month, and I spent absolutely nothing. Like, it's been I'm just
360
in amazement of myself and just how much I've learned. Learning so much about finances and just so many things that I didn't know before, like so many terms that I didn't know before, and so many other tricks that I didn't know until I started, like, doing this and learning about it. It's been good, especially when it comes to groceries too. How creative you could be. There
Yeah,
are
that's
days when
my area of
there are
expertise.
times when I'll be like, oh, I get to stretch just $30 and I end up spending 15. I'm like, oh wow.
It's stretched. It's elastic.
Oh man, it's been exciting. Like if you decide to make this whole journey, like if you don't see it as
If you see it as a drag, it's gonna be a drag.
yeah, and if you don't see it as a curse or like a bad thing happening to you, if you see it as a learning experience, as a growing experience, as something you're going through this because of where you want to be, like you can make it fun is what I'm trying to say. You can make it fun in terms of like trying to find more ways you can save money, how you can stretch that budget tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. You can do it if you just decide to.
And yeah, celebrating small victories is a big thing because the journey is long, and we're saying that that it's fun, but sometimes it's not. Like those when you're feeling like you're missing out on on the world, some days that you're overwhelmed by the heaviness of it all because it's heavy, or constantly
Oh yeah.
paying attention to your
Especially
finances.
for us that we're single too, right? It's not easy. It's really not easy.
Yeah, when you don't have a life partner that's going through it with you.
A lot of people would see us and be like, "Oh, you guys are like strong, independent women."
Independent how?
You think it's easy? It's not. It's really not easy. It's really for us where I would say me that I'm just like I'm literally on my own. Like I have zero family and I have very few friends.
We're all by ourselves.
So
right?
you're really by yourself. Like there are people that if it gets too hard for them, they can move back home. Like
myself, I can't move.
They don't know moving back home for us.
Yeah.
Like we have to make what we have work. Like you gotta make it work.
There's
So
no
it's not
in-laws to
easy.
move into. There's no your parents to move into.
Nobody's giving you inheritances and loans and helping you
food
out
on the weekends when you don't have when your budget doesn't match. When you don't have food, that's it.
Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times I wish I could just go home and just make like my mom's just gonna cook for me and I wouldn't have to stress about this. It's been hard. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie and say, do I regret it? No. But is it easy? No, it's not. Like even whenever people try to like say, "Oh, you're such a strong," I would try to tell them that I don't want to always have to be independent and have to do things by myself. Like
you're independent because you're in a situation
because you don't have a choice.
No choice.
You have no choice. So it's really not easy. Like I really envy people that have like a partner and they're doing this together. Because there are times when you want to give up, but I have no choice. Like I can't. Like there's no one picking up my slack. Like if I slack, I'm just gonna slack.
It's a slack.
Like no one is making up for it for me. Like if I decide that I'm not gonna go into work, I want to quit or I want to do like that's on me. Like I still gotta figure out how I'm gonna eat the next day. So it's not easy. That's what we're trying to say. But it's doable. Very, very doable.
Yeah, it's doable. And that's where setting milestones is important and celebrating every little milestone that you have. Because if you're by yourself, it's important. Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, good job, you did this." You're gonna have to tell yourself, "Good job, you did this."
Exactly. So that's it for.
That was a sad ending.
No, it's not a sad ending. I mean, we've achieved so much more than we would have thought. Like 2 years ago, like I would have imagined myself in this position where I'm actually taking charge of my finances. At this time, I was jobless. Like taking charge of my finances and things that I've always written down as my goal, but I've never actually done anything about it. But like the fact that I'm actually taking steps and doing things that are actually and I can actually see the effect of those changes. It's amazing. So for that, I will give myself a pat on the bum. That's enough for me. Knowing that where I was just going through my goals like over the past years and 2016, I was like, I want to be debt free. I was like, oh, pay off my car loan. Like I was just shaking my head. Like literally everything that is still on my I was on my goal for this year.
10 years ago.
Oh man. The only thing that I did was like get a better job. That was the only thing I achieved on that list. So the fact that I'm actually doing something about all of those things now, it's a great change. Yep. Anyways, That's all we have.
Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, yeah. We just want to say thank you for supporting and listening and following all the garbage we talk about. Following us on our Instagram.
Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes we don't.
We don't make sense, but just nodding your head through it all. It's been amazing just listening to us. Yeah,
we
finishing this year
appreciate you.
strong. It's been great. Thank you very much for your support and your love and everything. And we will see you next year.
2020, here we come.
It's gonna be great.
Yes.
All right. You know the drill.
Follow us on all our social media at 2 Sides of a Dime on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and 2 Sides of a Dime.
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. And everywhere you listen to your podcast. And 2 Sides of a Dime at gmail.com if you have any suggestions, comments, questions, personal opinions, please don't send us an email.